The best way to get more sales is to do this properly. Spend your time doing it right, and you will get more sales. Hey, it's Don. Today we're talking about probably the best way to get your sales rolling. It starts with your listings. Listing it properly, proper keywords and all of that kind of thing. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a short video with some cards that I scanned in about 17 minutes here. There's 236 auctions worth of listings in there. We're going to pull out just a couple of these, and I'm going to give you some of the best advice on listing something. And it doesn't really matter that it's postcards. We're talking about listing in general. We're going to show you and talk about what you need to do to get your listings to pop. Keywords are so important these days. SEO is what really matters. Missing just one keyword in a title can really sink the listing. Can mean the difference between it selling and not selling. I look at a lot of people's stores all the time, and many times they'll have listings that are missing the most important keyword in it, and just them adding a specific word to it will get it sold very, very quickly. So all your homework and time should be spent to make sure that you're listing it correctly. The wording itself of your title, the quality of your image, and your ability to correctly price it in the right area based on whatever item you are selling. Let's hop over now and discuss the process start to finish to get a couple new listings up. So we're here in the hub, and I'm just in my listings section here. These are all my listings. I always start everything from my listing page. You can set up templates or special spots or whatever. I always check all my store, so I just end up here. And all I do if I'm going to list in a specific category is I pick one I already have up. I usually sort down by category. I'll sit here and pick whether I'm looking at buttons or whatever I'm doing. We're going to do postcards today. So I'm going to select the postcard category. We're just going to sort down. We'll click search. And what pops up are all of my postcards. Now, I usually keep between 4,000 and 5,000 postcards up. It's just where I like to be. So we've got a couple hundred more we're going to put up this week, and then a couple hundred more next week. Bring it up to close to 4,800 or so is what our goals will be in the next 2 weeks. So I'll usually just sort these down from newest to oldest. You can see we just listed some other postcards on the 10th. So, and then I'm just going to click here, and I'm going to sell similar. This is sell similar from there. I've already uploaded the image just to save a few moments here, so you can see the first item that I am going to list here. I'll go ahead and use eBay to change the direction and edit or anything else that I may want to do. Usually I will do a zoom in, which means I'll come back in and I'll upload one more copy of the very same image. Let me pop through here and get to the same one. And this way I can highlight something in the actual image itself and center in on that. It'll be a larger image, it'll be brighter, it'll be more attractive than a distant shot. Distant shots don't show much detail, so they're hard to see what's going on with them. So we've cropped in, we've done a zoom in here, so this is what the highlight's going to be. Now let's put the title in here so I can click and find the right category here. Now this postcard dates, it's actually postmarked 1905 it looks like. So we're going to put 1905. What the image actually is here, it says Midget City Opera House, and this is in Coney Island at the Dreamland area in Coney Island. So we're going to have to put a little bit of information in the title. They're performers. They're on a stage. It says players. So we're going to put performers. Then we're going to put Dreamland. And we have to have Coney Island in here. Now, there are many different Coney Islands. There's a Coney Island in Ohio. There's a Coney Island in New York. I know Dreamland in this specific place is in New York. So we're going to sit and change this. Once you type in the title up here, it's going to direct you to a better category. And this would be either amusement parks or New York City. At this point, I am going to put this one in amusement parks because it would be collected more so for Dreamland and Coney Island than anything else. Now you have the option too to have your own store categories in here. I've got one set up for postcards. I've got a whole bunch. These are all ones that I personally created for my store. These are all ones that I use to list all the items that I do. It's something anybody can set up. There's not much to it. You have to have a store though to have store categories. So you at least have to have a basic store level to do this part. With store categories too, I could put each item into 2 different categories and get double exposure in my store if I wanted to. It depends on the item in question. They're all used. I mark everything as used, even if it's NOS, because at some point it changed hands from the original person who sold it. So technically it would be used whether it's opened or not in my book. So almost everything that's vintage I list as used. Now, if it's something brand spanking new off a shelf, it's never been opened, that is new. That's about the only way I do that. Now, I have Terapeak open, and that's usually where I get all of my pricing data from. Or I'll use private Reddit boards and other auction sites that also sell postcards. There's a bunch of them out there. There's smaller sites. There's sites that just sell railroad. There's sites that just sell buttons. There's sites that just sell comics, postcards, tobacco labels, whatever you want. There's another site besides eBay. Most people are unaware of these, but there's a bunch of those sorts of things out there. I'm going to use Terapeak because it's the most relevant for the items that I am selling. Terapeak's available again in the hub, just like your listings tab. You go to research and then boom. Now, I always set it up for 365 days, and I always obviously go to the category in question when it's a postcard or something. Now, not every postcard I list in the postcard section, but for the general purpose of what we're doing now, the majority of the ones that we want to find will be in the postcard section. Now, I don't usually add the word postcard or anything when I'm searching it. I'm looking for Dreamland and Coney Island. There's only 1 or 2 that would have a Dreamland and a Coney Island, and it really helps me center in. And the first things that pop up, in fact, let's sort it to highest price first. First one's a tattooed lady. Obviously, those are always expensive. I talk about those in my Patreon. Next one's a hold to the light. So we're just going to look down through here until we find one that matches what we have. And let's see here. This one, that is totally different. Again, we're looking for Dreamland. We're looking for the specific stage performance. So already the prices have dropped down to probably what the normal high dollar value would be with all of the ones you see from here on down. Everything else kind of falls down below there. So I use that for a judgment. I'll look at the highest price one, which I'm going to estimate. I'm going to knock off those hundreds of dollars ones because there's only a couple of those. They don't match what I have and they're outliers. So I'm going to list it up here at the top end. I'm going to list mine at $57.50. I've already got the title. Again, keywords are so important in here. Just having the place in a card like this, and again, let's look at it again. Just having the city isn't enough to sell the card itself. It has performers on it. It would be a sideshow as well. I could add that in there. In fact, let's do that. Let's get rid of the word vintage. I technically don't even need postcard, but performers. We're going to do sideshow and then performers because that's a perfect example of what we have here. I have a standardized condition statement that I use for everything. So every single thing that I do uses the very same condition statement. I may have to alter it if there's any like corners or damage or anything like that. But this is a solid card. I use eBay's editing software quite often. It does work fairly well. When you zoom in and blow it up, when it's 600 DPI, it looks just fine. I always do 600 DPI on these sorts of images. It's the best quality to make a huge blow up on someone's page, and it really draws attention to any issues wrong. I never get complaints on this sort of thing. I started to add in the condition statement and putting in that they're posted or not, just to worry about any future issues. I don't have to mess with it later on. Now, I don't always do the era either now, and I say that because sometimes the undivided back goes way past the time frame, so it's just not a relevant one in some postcards. But this one's a legit one. I can literally put that in there. You don't have to put any of these other items in here if you don't wish. So let's just go on down. Vintage card. Everything else here stays the same for every one of my listings. So now all I'm going to do is put the price in here. We know the estimate on the price. I've got it as a best offer, so if somebody really wants it, they're going to make an offer on it as well too. It may sell at the full price. There's only a couple even similar to this, as we said, up here in Terapeak. So being that there's only a couple that show up at any given time, I've already looked through the active listing, so I know what's in the active section as well. Something you should honestly do and recommend. But that's how I get the price on this one here. It's at the high end of them, but it's not the top massive quantity, the ones that are selling in the 300-400. It's a commoner card. It's not elaborate, but it's still a highly collectible one. Now, I've got everything set up. I've got the ability for them to make offers. I don't have any auto decline, auto accept or anything. I just look at everyone when they come in. I've got quantity 1. I do have my taxes set up in here. So sales tax goes by a table that I have inputted by clicking the view sales tax table and then clicking the edit. Now, one other thing that I've talked about, and I have videos up right this second. I've got over 1,000 videos up on how to set up business policies. I would honestly set up business policies, everybody out there. Now, with business policies, I use the same shipping standard, return policy, and payment policy for every single item that's under 16 ounces. Unless, let's say, it's media. It's the only basic difference on it. Everyone is first class for shipping. All my standard payment policy and all the same return policy. It's all the same. So I only change these same things you see me changing right this very second for everything. If I want to list something besides a postcard, I'll still click another listing, click sell similar, and then I'll just go in and change anything I need to change. With the proper keywords like the sideshow performers, Midget City, Dreamland, Coney Island, all of those specific titles help narrow it down. There's a ton of information in the title. Everything you would want to know. Keywords are going to sell this. I would not be surprised if this does sell for at least $40 in that range. It's a nice card. So let's go ahead and list it. That's all there is to it. So there we have it. It's listed, active, and ready to go. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
About to see the most dramatic demonstration of quality and dependability ever devised for a television set. This battery-operated Zenith handcrafted portable TV with the picture turned on is about to be dropped from an airplane. Watch. The chute opens with a tremendous shock. The set is still working. Now moving at 20 feet per second. Watch it hit the ground. Impact. It slams, bounces, tumbles. But the set is still working. Dramatic proof of the rugged quality and dependability of Zenith handcrafted TV. Zenith refuses to build black and white or color TV with plastic printed circuit boards that can crack or break. Every connection in a Zenith is handcrafted to really take it. At Zenith, the quality goes in before the name goes on.